Hi, knuckleheads. Time for thought of the day. Red flags. This is something I think is very important to be discussing because it's not something that's talked about in the open very often. Red flags can come in all different kinds of forms. So, one thing I want to address is if, especially in the beginning of the relationship, even it could be in the dating phase, if somebody's cracking jokes at you and it kind of borderlines on it's insulting to either your character or something you're wearing, this happened to me personally, you might want to reconsider that whole situation because if they're willing to crack jokes at your expense so early on, what are they going to be like down the line if there's like a fight, a disagreement, an argument? I think that's something that isn't quite often discussed or brought up. So be careful with those that are willing to crack jokes at your expense. Even though it may seem playful, it doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case. So that's one thing I wanted to cover. Another thing is omissions. So if somebody that you're spending time with that could be going toward a relationship or even a long-term situation, if they're not telling you everything, if they're omitting things, when I first started dating my husband, he used to always tell me that omissions are betrayals because it's not, sometimes it's even worse than a lie because not telling somebody, withholding information is critical. If you're not willing to tell everything, you're withholding information, that's not going to be something that's going to help to build trust in a relationship. So it's I don't know, it could even sometimes be worse than lying. So you want to stay clear of people that are going to omit um, information to you because you don't want to find out that they're not willing to share with you. Sharing is the be all end all core of building trust in a relationship. Next red flag I want to cover is if they never give you compliments. It may seem trivial, but compliments are pretty important. You always want to lift each other up. You know, life has so much adversity. Life in itself has adversity. And if you're not with a partner who's willing to compliment you, that seems to me that that'd be a red flag because they're not going to be willing to not only compliment you but lift you up when you fall down. It's really important to steer clear of those that are unwilling to compliment you or even make comments if somebody has given you a compliment and it seems like they're jealous of that person getting complimented or the person giving the compliment to you. Of if they're jealous and they don't want to let you have a compliment and they take it away by saying something snide or snotty, that's that's been an issue in the past for me, not in my current relationship, but if they want to just pop your bubble because somebody gave you a nice compliment, steer clear of those people. You don't need them in your life. I think another red flag would be if they don't feel comfortable with you having your own time. If they're somebody who are kind of seeming like they're smothering you, if you're, trying to get it through a work shift and it seems like they're hanging around 24/7 because it's probably just a red flag that they don't have the ability to trust you. And trust again, like I said, is very important and crucial to your relationship and building that between two people. So if someone's going to smother you and not give you your space and trust you, then you're not going to like that long term whatsoever. Also, how they treat their parent is very important to steer clear of. If they're talking really negatively to their mom or their dad, if they're willing to be rude to the people that raised them, the parent that they 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 raised them, they instilled values in them, and if they're willing to be rude to their own parent, I'd say that that's a big red flag because if they're willing to treat them bad and their blood, how are they going to treat you, especially if you end up marrying them? So, another thing too is if they're going to let their parent come in and try to control everything, uh, as far as what you do for a living, or they have something to say about your life as a couple, they have comments about you. So if you have a meddling parent situation from, your partner, that's a big red flag. You want to steer clear, especially if it seems like your partner won't establish the boundaries and get that problem resolved sooner than later. You don't want your potential spouse to allow their parent to walk either over them or yourself. That's not good. You want to make sure that those boundaries, that person is mature enough that they're going to always stand up for you, even if that means against their own parent. I'm not saying mistreat your parents, but make sure that whoever you're going to be in a committed relationship with or get married to is willing to stick up for you, and that's against even their own parent. Because sometimes parents overstep their boundaries and they don't mean to, but you do need your spouse to back you up or your partner to back you up, and you don't want them crossing those lines. So that's going to affect you, short term and long term. So stay clear of that. And if your significant other seems not to be able to prioritize you, if it seems like you're always taking a back seat to everything, that's not going to work long term either. That's another red flag. If you're always the last on the pecking order, then that's probably just going to continue on. It's nothing that's going to change. So be sure that if somebody you're going to be in a long-term committed relationship, that they understand that eventually when you get married, it's you and that person against the whole world. So make sure that you're not with somebody who just has you around as a convenience. That's a big red flag. Let me think, what else? How they treat animals. You can tell a lot about a person by how they treat animals. Because if they're willing to kick the dog, kick the cat, be abusive, that's not a good sign. Because if they're willing to mistreat a poor little helpless creature, a furry friend, badly, there's no saying what limits there could be to somebody like that. I once went out on a date with some guy who decided he was going to punch a dog in the face. Like, why would you punch a poor dog in its face? Like, you can tell it no, stop it, but you don't do that. So I was just thinking, well, if this person's willing to punch a dog in the face, what happens if we get in a fight someday? It's like, am I next? And yes, also, if you're in a relationship and all of a sudden you notice that in a fight or a disagreement, that person starts to kick holes in the walls or in the doors or throws things, that's something you're also going to want to be just aware. You might not want to stay in that situation. It depends. Like, if somebody throws a pen, it's a pen. But if somebody's throwing big objects, breaking things, breaking doors, breaking walls, that's bad. Because what if someday the wall becomes you? You don't want that either. So, and then of course, the red flags are just all the other things where if they're willing to put their hands on you and so forth, those are easy to spot. So those are just a couple ideas that I have for red flags. And I just wanted to throw that out there. Just wanted to say hi to everybody. It's been a while since we posted. We have a great Ask Jen and Dan. I can't talk today. We have an awesome Ask Jen and Dan segment coming up in the next couple days. It's something that we really want to dive into about your relationship, on what status you are. So please stay tuned, because in the next 2 to 3 days, we're going to be posting a really great video on if you're thinking about changing your status in your relationship. So please make sure that you tune in the next couple days, because we're going to have a really great segment on Ask Jen and Dan about this topic. So, but I just wanted to keep you posted that we're still around. We've had some setbacks. I was in a bad car accident a couple weeks back. We did post the video on that, and I'm just lucky that I wasn't hurt worse, and I'm now going through physical therapy sessions, so it's been kind of slows down a little bit on creating content and so forth, but we just wanted everybody to know that we're still here, we have, again, we are going to be launching this great video in the next few days, so please stay tuned. Um, and we will be covering an important topic. So please check back with us. And if you have questions in the meantime, we are always here. Always make sure to check out our website if you want to contact us directly at the knuckleheadsguide-to-marriage.com is our website, and it does have our direct contact information if anybody has questions or wants advice or wants us to cover a specific topic. But anyway, remember, it's that time again. Remember to like, subscribe, share our story, and we will catch you next time.